Yo, what up, everybody? We're back again with another haircut tutorial. Today we are doing a drop skin fade haircut on my client whose hair is thinning, as you can see, but there's a way to cut the hair to make it all blend in and not expose the thinning as much. Make sure you guys watch this video to the end because I'm going to be dropping a lot of gems throughout the video, and hope you guys enjoy. So when starting your drop skin fade, it's basically a mid fade on the sides and then it dips down in the back. So you kind of want to start your line somewhere a little below where the corners meet on your front lineup. And then you kind of make that line go straight across and then have it curve down towards the bottom so it dips below that occipital bone. And for me, I like to make sure it drops pretty low below the bone so that way you have a lot of room to blend and keep it dark so it fades back. So as you can see where I got my line at, it's kind of as if I'm starting a mid fade, but then the line curves down right around the ear and we bring that line all the way around to the opposite side. When creating that first line, also you just want to kind of make sure you're not putting in a super hard line. Sometimes I'll press against the head, sometimes I'll scoop up as if I'm doing right now. Either or is fine, just you want to make sure to not press hard and create a super hard line to blend out because it's just going to make your job way more difficult and take a lot longer on the haircut. All right, and after your first line has been created, we're going to take our electric shaver and we're going to bald out the bottom. You want to come up and kind of scoop up right before you hit the line so you're not creating any super hard lines in there that are going to be hard to fade out. We will bald out the bottom with this electric shaver all the way around and then begin our fade. All right, when beginning your fade, you want to grab your comb or your brush. When the hair is this short on the sides, I usually recommend a brush, especially when the hair is curly like this, because the brush will comb the hairs down and really give you a good look at what you're dealing with every time you start to fade with your clipper. So right now we have our clipper open just one click, or you can count it as like almost halfway, and we go up about a quarter inch, and then we come back with our clipper closed at a 0. That's where we're at right now, and we go back to that same line that we just created, the bottom line, and we use our 0, the corner of our clipper only, and we are going to attack that bottom line with our 0. It's not going to blend it out completely, but it's going to lighten it up, and we use the corner of it and we go at it at different angles and we start to lighten that line up, and once it's lightened up to as much as possible, we are going to take the next step. All right, and as you can tell, the line is basically faded, but it's not all the way. So we take our trimmer, we use the corner of it only, and we go right about the area where we created the line to the 0 that we created, and we very gently use the corner of our trimmer and we blur out the rest of that line so it blends into the skin. When you use your electric shaver, sometimes it's hard to get that line out. The corner of your trimmer is the key. That is the key to getting the line out between the electric shaver, the skin, and your zero clipper. Next step, we put our half guard on our clipper all the way closed, and we're going to go up another 1/4 inch. And as we go up, it's hard to tell, but I scoop out every time. So I go up, I scoop out, I go up, I scoop out. Okay, and then that way it lightens up the line for my next guard. So that way I'm not doing as much work. Next, we take our half guard off, and then we go back to our original line that we first made with our clipper open up 1 click or almost halfway, and we use the corner of that only, and that blends out the line in between the half guard and the line we created with the clipper almost halfway open. Next, we're gonna skip the number 1 guard. We're gonna get our 1.5. We're gonna close it all the way, and we're going to just remove a little bit of weight before we go back with that 1 guard. So we're getting rid of a little bit of weight and lighten up the area a little bit more so we can see it better. And we're scooping out as the closer we get to the top, so that way we don't dig too deep into the hair on top and create a patch or anything like that. And also continue opening or playing around with the lever. Open it, close it, do what you need to do to just lighten up the area and blend it into the top without digging too deep. Next, we put our 1 guard on. We got the clipper all the way open this time. And so in between that 1.5 and the half that we did, we got our clipper all the way open, and we are going to go up in the same scooping motion. But this time we're going to play around with the lever. We're going to keep that 1 guard on. We're going to slowly close it using the corner and blending out that line. So the one all the way open lightens it up, and then the clipper closed with the one on, 1 guard on, will fade out the rest of that line for you. And when it comes to a good fade, the number one thing you guys need to know is that the corner is your best friend, the corner of your blade. You use the whole blade to create a line or lighten up an area, but then you use the corner of your blade to really uh, fade that line out. It's like you have your shears to cut the hair, and you have your thinning shears to blend it in. You see what I'm saying? So you're gonna go ahead and do that, and then as you can see right now, we put our half guard back on, and we're gonna have that open. We're gonna play around with the lever. Can't tell you exactly what I'm doing, like when I'm opening and closing it, but you just kind of know. You know what I mean? You got the half guard on, it's open. You play around with it. You open, you close it, you cry until you see that line start to fade away. And then after that, the last part is just to blend into the top. So we got our number 2 guard on, and we are going to slowly go up and open the lever and close it. What we need to do, we're going to scoop out when we do it. And as you can see right now, I am going to go with the grain just to knock down any other loose hairs without taking the hair too short, and just have that blended nicely to the fade. So the fade is basically done. All I'm doing now, because I'm just such a perfectionist, is um, I'm going to detail a little bit more. So I got my 1.5 guard on. I'll probably put my one back on. I'm going to go ahead and just do a little bit of detail work, make sure that that fade is as smooth and as blurry as possible. I want my clients walking out of here with the best fade they've ever had every single time they sit in my chair. Sometimes being a perfectionist can uh, just kind of make you struggle a little bit and just like always think there's something, you know, else you need to work on when you don't. But you know what? I'd rather be a perfectionist than not put in the work that I know I'm capable of. So this is the first side of the fade, all done, no lineup. I'm gonna fade in the tip of the beard right there, but this is just the haircut fade, the drop fade on one side. Now we continue to this other side. Okay, so with the opposite side, you're gonna do the same steps. I did do a couple different steps in this one because I was trying to see if I could like do a different steps on the other side just to like give you guys something different. Um, I mean, the fade still came out great, but I didn't actually do it the way I wanted to. So, you guys are just gonna repeat the same steps. You basically just you go up one line, and then you take the corner of a clipper with the last line that you created, and then you just blend that out, and you just keep doing that until you get all the way to the top. You scoop out, you don't dig too deep into the hair, you don't push too hard, and you just gotta trust yourself when you got those clippers in your hands. The more you hesitate or be scared to fade, or it's just the more you're gonna second guess yourself, and you need to trust yourself with those clippers in your hands. Know it's an extension of yourself, and you know that you're an artist and you can do this. All right, second side done, same consistency. Make sure you use that brush, make sure everything's laying down smooth, and now we're going to start on the back. So because we're doing a drop fade, you want to be careful when you're fading the back because sometimes people take it up too high, and the whole purpose of a drop fade is to be lower in the back, fade down, just like lower along the occipital bone. You don't want it to come up too high and end up being like almost an all even fade all the way around. There's a reason it's a drop fade, so you want to start low. That's why you want to make that line, first line pretty low because it gives you room, and you want to stay within that like quarter inch to half an inch range of creating each line. So then that way you just don't go too high. But other than that, the steps will still be the same. You have a smaller area to work with, and it should be a lot quicker. But all the exact same steps. The crown area might be a little bit different. As for instead of really fading up in there, you kind of just want to clean it up and make sure it's laying down nicely. So maybe put a long guard on and go down with the grain, but you're doing all the exact same steps to get that same consistency and that fade all the way around. The difference between a low fade and a drop fade is like where you start your line at. So when you're doing a low fade, your line is going to all the way around. Your line is going to be it's going to start very low because people don't want their fade going too high. So it's going to look like this exact same fade, but just way lower. So it's definitely more of a difficult fade, and definitely a lot harder when the hair is a lot longer as well. But that is a low fade, and then the drop fade is going to be where it's basically like a mid fade on the sides, maybe sometimes even a high fade depending on the person. And then it just takes a huge dip in the back. And that one's a lot easier because you have a lot more room to work with, and so on and so forth. And now for the front lineup. So my client actually has kind of a tricky lineup. His hair is thinning on top, receding a bit, and it's a bit crooked, just kind of naturally. So one side does need to be like, pushed back just a bit to be symmetrical with the other side, which is fine. Usually the client knows that. And if not, you can just explain to them beforehand if you just want to make sure you're on the same page. But some people are like that. They just have a naturally crooked lineup, and one side needs to be pushed back just a bit more, just to, if they want it to be symmetrical. If they don't, that's their preference. But yeah, you want to still keep the lineup, as natural as possible on the side that is the highest. Um, and and then you just want to make sure you keep combing the hairs down. Sometimes when the hair texture is pretty soft like his, or like a loose curl, spray a little bit of something in there to hold the hairs in place. And yeah, and then you just go ahead and follow that lineup all the way around, and make sure you're trying to keep everything as natural as possible. And I did not add any enhancements to this haircut, and just followed his lineup the way it is. And this is your final result, the drop skin fade haircut. You can see it's higher on the sides, drops and gets darker in the back. Everything's natural, clean cut, comes out looking good every time. And just got to trust yourself. You guys just need to make sure, remember what I said. Everything comes with the scooping motion, the corners, and thank you guys for watching.